Hey guys, now look at this really cool effect going on here. It's kind of refracted glass effect, which I'm going to show you guys how to make. And get this as well. If we drag this, really cool. So you can make like interactive posters, websites, all sorts from this. A couple more examples that inspired this. Incredible work by Jordan Gilroy, amazing web designer and web developer who made this website with neocultural couture. Really cool, like glass effects. You can imagine this on a Home Hero header. You could do a lot of cool things there. And then also shout out to the person that made this. I've forgotten your name. I'm so sorry. Where is it? If I type in Reeded Glass Effect, you guys can actually see this project for yourself and clone it. Naima Biedi. Christian Bieda. Thanks so much. Go give him a follow on Spline. And yeah, you guys can actually clone this. I've also got this project that I'm going to make clonable. So if you can't be bothered to watch the whole video, just clone this and then you can get into it yourself. Some really cool things that you could do with this effect though. You know, you can do animations, transitions, and obviously if you guys, I mean, I've just done this just for the purposes of a tutorial. Obviously it's not very practical to have 3D text moving as you're trying to read it, but you know, you can do some really interesting things with this. So how the hell do you do this? Okay, let's get into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new project in the top right of Spline. I'm going to get rid of what's already here. I'm going to leave the directional light and I'm going to change the background to a little bit of a lighter color just so we can see more what's going on. Now to do this, we actually want spheres. So as you can see, these are just loads of spheres all put together. So this looks way harder than it is. It's essentially one cylinder that we have cloned multiple times, okay? So let's get back to here. So I'm going to get a cylinder. I'm going to bring it down like that. Okay, nice. Now, right now it's got a hard center, like a Ferrero Rocher. And what we need to do is to hollow it out, okay? So you see on the right here, so once you click on this, you've then got this hollow here. So if we drag this out, in fact, let me scroll up a bit. You see how it's being hollowed out. Now it looks a bit more like a polo. We want it to be super thin. So we're going to drag that to 1. Okay, so we've got a tube, a little bit like penne pasta, and now we've got it. We've got obviously one single cylinder. Now if we go down to the bottom here and we click clone, it says linear, which is what we want. It means it will go straight across, and we can create whatever count number we we want. So I got a bit of cold here. Okay, so we've got 20 across. Amazing. Okay, now if we click on that again, we can actually inside here, inside this cloner panel, we can change how close we want them together. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to make them the same as the width of the object. The width is 67. So if I make this 67, what that means is they're going to literally be straight next to each other, as you can see here. What we can do though, if you want to get really crazy, is rotate them, just like this design that I showed you at the start has done. Sorry, I'm losing you. So as you can see now, we've got a pretty different style of design. And yeah, you can play around with this, you know, decide what suits you. You can actually do some pretty interesting things with this. You can click on random as well. So if you do that, you've got loads of different options to play around here. You see how we've got random positioning of of all the different cylinders. We can change the position, we can change the scale randomly. Personally, I'm not going to use random for this one, but I'm just trying to show you that this whole glass effect can be changed and morphed depending on what you're needing in this cloner panel. So I'm going to leave it as that. Actually, let's wait, I want it 67, messing around here. Let's change it. I quite liked it when it was 7. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, cool. Now let's zoom back in on this one cylinder. Now, whatever we apply to this cylinder will apply to all the cylinders across. Okay, so if you're like, say you're in here and you're trying to click around and you're like, why can't I click on that individual cylinder just over there? The reason is because you need to change these to instances. So what we've got here is the cylinder, which is the thing that's being cloned across the whole thing, right? Now what we can do is down in cloner, we can convert to instances. Now when you do that, you're going to unlink this whole thing. So just be aware that, you don't want to do that unless you want to do that, okay? That doesn't really make sense, but okay. Now, how do we apply all the different effects here? We've got loads of great stuff to apply. So in cylinder here, what we've got is we've got the material panel, we've got color. First of all, I'm going to change that to white. Then we've got lighting. Now, lighting, we're going to change to physical, okay? Now, why are we doing that? Because when we apply physical to this, we can change the roughness. You see how we've now got a little bit more of a texture going on. We can change the metalness. We can change the reflectivity. So there's all sorts of stuff that we can change in here, which just gives it a more interesting feel. Now what's really cool is that we can actually add an image to this as well. So let's add an image material layer to the object first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add an image. Now I've downloaded this pack of different assets, but for the purposes today, let's just get one of these from the asset library. You can just download like a textured image, and there's a lot of free ones on things like FreePic, Unsplash, iStock. Ideally, you'd want to find something like this. In fact, let's do this properly. I'm going to go to here, and there was actually one that was being used on the Read project that I showed you that I copied into here. Sorry, there's too much random stuff going on. Okay, can't seem to find that. Let's go to this MatCaps bundle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Studio. Maybe this one. Okay, so we've now got this effect applied across the board. Cool. So what I'm going to do is now, you see in this panel, we've got this image, and then we've got this. which is position overlay. And now we can change this bump map. And what is the bump map doing? It's basically giving it like artificial roughness. We can change the intensity of this. Whoa, you see the effects on this? That's so cool. Yeah, we can change how intense that is. We can do all sorts, which just make this so much more of an interesting scene. And I'm no expert in this, but what I will say is that the more you put effort into the small details, the more your scene will come alive. So just bear that in mind. You know, take some time to get the desired effect that you're looking for, and think about the intensity of stuff as you go. Okay, so now we're going to do the noise. The noise effect. This is my favorite effect, probably. Okay, so in here we've got simplex. I'm going to change this to simplex fractal. And what we can then do is we can change the size of these to 1, 1, 1. So that's 1 on the X, 1 on the Y, 1 on the Z. And what that's going to do is create these tiny little kind of grainy, sandy effect. And you're like, Jack, I don't really get why you're doing that. You kind of covered everything. Hold on, cowboy. Boom. Change this from normal to overlay. Maybe change this down to something like 50. Ooh, we're getting something kind of nice now. Okay. New layer. We're on a roll now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a depth layer in now. Since I actually don't have any other colours than black and white right now, I'm going to just stick with the black and white colour palette. Overlay. Nice. I don't know if I want as much white in there. Sorry, other way. Maybe a bit darker. Okay, cool. And then what I need is our material. Now we've put in a glass material, and you're like, now I can't see anything. What the hell? This is not what we want. Hold your horses. Let's just up the blur. Let's leave the refraction as it is. Let's put that to like 50 thickness. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put a matte cap layer over the top. Let's make it a shiny boy. Ooh, this is kind of cool. Boom. So now we've got kind of an interesting effect going on. Let's turn this down to maybe something like 20, 40 maybe? 40. 40 is kind of nice. Ooh. Alright, I actually prefer this one to the one I originally made. It's got a really nice grainy effect. Quite subtle. So cool. Okay, cool. Nice. And then what I'm going to do, final touch, is a little Fresnel layer. And that is just going to give us a little bit of punch, a little bit of shine. Change that to overlay. Maybe. Actually, I kind of like that. Okay. Wow, that's so sick. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is just to show you something really fast. Is we've got base state here, and we've got state. So that's how you click on your object, and then you've got this panel, base state, state, right? In base state, we've got it rotation 0. In state, we're going to give it 360. You're like, yeah, Jack, that looks like there's no change. Hold your horses. Click the plus icon. Then you've got start, leave that, click transition. And then click 10, just to show you a 10-second rotation. And click the play button. How sick is that? We've made that in 14 minutes, 39 seconds. And if you zoom right in, you get a really cool effect where, how nice is that? So what we're going to do now is we're going to put an image behind this, okay? So if I go on to Unsplash, you can go anywhere to get your images, obviously, guys, but yeah, Unsplash is fine with me. Actually, is it fine? Let's get like something. Let's get like Kanye West. Read a really interesting article about how Adidas cut ties with him after anti-Semitic comments that he made, and then he started just selling his own stuff. I mean, mad. Okay, so okay, this image is going to be. Actually, this one's cooler. Nice. Okay. Kanye. So, we've got a little cheeky Kanye coming in behind. Whoop, I've lost my project. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to import him. Where is he? Oh, it's a WebP. You can... Oh, let's move my fat head. Okay. Let's just screen grab this. Not the smoothest part of the video here, but you're seeing how it all comes together, I guess. Okay, so image has to be a JPEG or a PNG, guys. Okay. Boom. Now it's kind of covering, so let's just put that behind. This seems to have still kind of a bluey hue. I'm just going to go through these and check. No, it's black and white everywhere. It might be this that's changing it. Let's change this to black. Cool. Yeah, on the noise effect, you're going to have colors applied that are automatic, so just make sure that you deal with deal with that. Lighting intensity, nice. Okay, cool. Now, I actually don't think we need this to be as big as it is. Let's change the size. So remember, we're changing the size of this one cylinder. That's going to change the size across the board. Now, as we've brought that down, what we've done is we have also decreased the width of this. So let's bring this. Oh, I'm changing the count. Let's change the position to the same as this. So this is 3977, 3977. Let's up the count so that it covers this. In fact, let's just cover it both sides, shall we? Nice. Let's move that down. Okay, so looking cool. Let's get this scene to a viewport width and height, just so this is going to be locked in there. You see how cool this is for prototyping there, guys? You know, you can make stuff, show the client and be like, hey, I'm thinking that the home hero header could be like this. I just think it's such a powerful tool. Oh, okay, so why is that messed up? It's because we've already applied animation effects to this cylinder. And then when I move the sizing of everything, it's still like that's the base state. Now this is the state. So you got to watch that. If you're going to do, not mess up like I just did, you're going to need to think, okay, like if I'm doing animations, let's do them all at the end, just so that we can make sure that everything happens in the same motion. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is you can right click on the state and then you can push changes to base state. Okay, such a useful little feature. that Spline have got there. So now the base state and the state are the same. We don't want that. We want the base state to be 0 rotation, and then we want the state to be 360 rotation. Now, we want this to rotate in, let's make it more like 20 seconds. And then what I'm going to do is change the loop to infinite cycle to ping pong reverse. So it's going to go but seamlessly. That's the plan here. Okay, so no delay, that's all good. And let's check this out. You can imagine like text overflowing here. You know, this could be like the head of a nav. Kanye could go from like 1.2 scale down to 1 scale, and then this could come in like at the same time. Header text could come in plus the nav if this was on a website or something. Really sorry, got a terrible cold. Yeah, you could do some really cool stuff here. Oh, that's going to now change it across the board. Push change to space state. Make this 360. But yeah, we've just made a kind of glass cylinder effect in no time. Let's make it even more visible. Maybe I've made the blur a bit strong. I think that might be the problem. Yeah, let's make that more like 20. Whoop. Let's change the blur to 2. Let's put the thickness right down. 8. Let's put the refraction right up. Maybe you see how, you know, you do need to play around with the settings a little bit just to get it right, guys. You know, you might have like an effect in your head and you're like, fuck, I just can't quite get it. Hold your horses there, cowboy, you will, okay? You just need to play with the numbers a bit, okay? In fact, I'm thinking we need to see this a little bit more. Okay, that's quite nice. Glass, let's make glass right up. Ooh, cowboy, okay, that's a bit much. I quite like that effect. Oh, I need to change the state. So remember, see, I do this wrong every single time. Base state, state. Base state, it's going to be 0. State's going to be 360. That's a bit better, isn't it? I think so. I know that you can't actually reply to me. Infinite delay 0 state 360. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, cool. So anyway, there it is, guys. We've made something that is this refracted glass effect. We've got multiple different layers overlaying everything, and now Kanye West looks even cooler than he normally does. If you guys want to duplicate this file, I'm going to leave it below. You guys can play around with it, have a gander, make something weird and wonderful. And, you know, think about the different applications of this. Maybe a music poster, maybe web. I don't know. Could be like, I think in not too long a time, we'll have posters that are interactive that people can play with, not just websites. So loads of different applications that could be quite interesting to explore. Hope that was helpful. Subscribe if you haven't already, guys. Come on, I'm going to be dropping Spline content the whole time. Immersive website stuff. Who knows what the next video will be. But leave comments, leave questions. Let's get to it. Cheers.